have administering the oath of office to Ms. Speltz. She's actually took it immediately upon election last week, and we put her to work, but we wanted to kind of recreate in public. Mr. Stars, can you lead us through this exercise?
You'd raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Abigail Speltz,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Abigail Speltz,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education,
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education,
am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to Registered Statute 19:4-1,
am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
and that I am not disqualified from membership on the board
and that I am not disqualified from membership on the board
due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A:12-1,
due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A:12-1,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform
all duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
all duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did we get a good photo from over there? Do we need to recreate in the middle? Anything? We're all good? All right. That is important. All right, minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes? Mr. Lawrence? Mr. Bigman? All in favor? Any abstentions? You got, you can see out of the side of his head. Excellent. All right, moving right along. Presentations. Dr. Diskin.
All right, good evening, everyone. Tonight we have 3 presentations. Our first presentation, we'd like to invite Dorothy Kelly up. She is the leader of our Historical Society, and she has spent the summer with our Millburn High School interns who have looked at different research projects throughout Millburn, and we are excited to hear from the students and from Ms. Kelly about all the students worked on this summer. So thank you so much for coming this evening. We really appreciate it.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us here. My name is Dorothy Kelly, and I am the curator of the Millburn Short Hills Historical Society Museum. It is the 5th year that we have had a high school internship, and every year I am impressed by the academic skills, the dedication, and enthusiasm of the high school students. This is a reflection not just on them as individuals, but also the exceptional educations they have received. So kudos to the teachers, kudos to the schools. This year we had 19 interns, 18 of which were from Millburn High School. 1 was from Livingston High School, That's her second year coming back to Millburn to be really enthusiastic about Millburn history, so yay. Of the 18, 6 are repeat offenders. They've been back 2 years to deal with me. The focus this year was primarily on preparing for America's 250th celebrations, but larger than that, we were reflecting on community ties that are formed by living in a particular place at a particular time. And that is not an easy focus. That's a very abstract concept, and the interns rose to the occasion beautifully. They did a superb job. You will also get to see their work in January and February at the Millburn Public Library. There will be an exhibition up. Now, I want to turn it over to them because they have a wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Ananya Mandrakar. On behalf of all of the interns, we would like to thank the Board of Education so much for giving us this opportunity to share our work. And without further ado, I'm going to dive into my presentation. Today, I will be talking about the Hessian House and Hannah Caldwell. The Hessian House is located at 155 Millburn Avenue, just near the Vauxhall Bridge, and is considered a local legend. According to the legend, 2 Hessian soldiers abandoned their post during the Battle of Springfield in 1780. Looking for cover, they came to the Hessian House, where they were provided with food and shelter. Although there are many different versions of the story, 155 Millburn Avenue will always remain known for its role in the legend. On the slide, there is a timeline of the house's history. The house was built in 1730, making it the oldest house in Millburn. Today, it is owned by the Partners for Drug-Free New Jersey, who let the Historical Society inside this summer to look around and learn more about the house's history. My second project focused on Hannah Caldwell, the wife of Reverend James Caldwell. She is best remembered for the legend surrounding her death. According to the story, Hannah Caldwell was shot by a British soldier inside of her home during the Battle of Connecticut Farms. Although it is true that Hannah Caldwell died during the Battle of Connecticut Farms, it is much more likely that she was not intentionally shot. The bullet that struck her may have been fired by an American, British, or Hessian soldier. This legend was used to boost American morale during the war. To this day, Hannah Caldwell's death is misrepresented in the media, most notably on the Union County seal displayed on the screen. The seal depicts Hannah Caldwell outside of her home being intentionally fired upon by a British soldier. Now I'm going to turn it over to our next intern.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aditi Banerjee, and I'm a junior at Millburn High School. Over the summer, I learned how even our local landmarks connect to a larger story of Americans' fight for independence, and why it's so important that we continue to preserve these landmarks. The Hessians were German soldiers, hired by the British during the Revolutionary War. Many fought in New Jersey, including at the Battle of Springfield in our own town. Nearly half of them never returned home. Their story became part of Millburn's legend of the Hessian House. The Harvey and Isabel Kahn collection helps keep that legend alive. From 1953 to 2006, the Kahns lived in the house and collected artifacts such as the Hessian soldier whirligigs shown on the slide. Preserving these artifacts ensures that both the house and its legend remain an important part of Millburn's revolutionary history. I was fortunate to actually step inside the house and see its beautifully preserved interior, including a fireplace that we believe to be the original one from 1730, proof that time travel is indeed possible, at least in Millburn. Another key figure from this period was Reverend James Caldwell, pastor of the First Presbyterian Church of Elizabethtown. Serving as the chaplain and a quartermaster, he inspired soldiers with his sermons and supplied them with food, weapons, and clothing. At the Battle of Springfield in 1780, when troops ran out of wadding for their musket, Caldwell rushed into a church, grabbed stacks of Watts, and cried, "Give him Watts, boys." The act became a famous symbol of patriotic spirit. Caldwell's life ended tragically when he was shot the following year, but his legacy continues as 3 New Jersey towns, Caldwell, North Caldwell, and West Caldwell, are named after him. I had a great experience over my summer, and I thank the Historical Society and Mrs. Kelly and Mr. Marks for the opportunity. And thank you to the Board of Ed for giving us the opportunity to present our research. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ria Singh and I research the bicentennial celebration of the Battle of Springfield. In 1980, the Township of Millburn and the Township of Springfield came together to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Springfield. The goal was to honor an often overlooked Revolutionary War battle and to bring the community together through a 3-day celebration. The first day consisted of a rally at Taylor Park where families participated in colonial-inspired events. People were encouraged to dress in period clothing, play games, enjoy music, and watch demonstrations. The next day consisted of a large parade that went through Millburn, Union, and Springfield and ended with a beacon fire lighting in Springfield. This fire symbolized the fire lit in the 1780 battle to warn residents and local militia of the British advance. This tied together events from the original battle and the commemoration. The final day consisted of a full-scale reenactment in Springfield, complete with authentic colonial camps and gear. The overall purpose of the bicentennial celebration was not only to remember a historic battle, but also to bring the community together and highlight the importance of preserving local history. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Shu. I'm a senior and the mysterious student from Livingston High School. This summer, I had the privilege of being able to return as an intern for my second year at the Millburn Historical Society. My project mainly focused on Millburn's 4th of July and circus legacy, beginning in the 1930s. I researched how the celebrations first began during the Great Depression, when the community-led committees organized a day of modest athletic events, games, and even hosting block dances and roller skating. During this era, 4th of July events were originally organized by fraternal groups and funded by the town. Though, as budgets tightened and the town struggled to continue supporting them, responsibility shifted. First to the American Legion, and later to a designated committee in 1933, which sustained the tradition through fundraising campaigns. Over the years, the events grew, and by the 1940s, the Hoxie Brothers Circus became the centerpiece of Millburn's 4th of July. The circus tradition lasted nearly 4 decades and drew thousands of people to Taylor Park. At its peak, more than 10,000 residents and visitors would gather for the shows. One of the most unforgettable sights was Bonnie the Elephant, as you can see on the screen, who marched right down Millburn Avenue. For children growing up here, seeing an elephant walking through their own hometown was a memory that stayed with them for life. This project helped me to grow to understand how community celebrations reflect its values and history, and how something like a circus could create traditions that shape Millburn's identity for generations. I am so grateful to Dorothy Kelly, who invited me to come back a second year, and to Ed Marks, who guided me and helped me edit my article. This internship has been an incredible chance to strengthen my research and writing skills, while also connecting more deeply with Millburn's unique history. I also want to thank you all so much for supporting opportunities like these for students. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharia Tanna. As we prepare to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, it's important to recognize how its promise of freedom shapes our lives. Through the stories of former local residents, we can see the lasting impact the Declaration has had on us all. Starting off with Captain Eliakim Little, a local hero few have heard of, he stands as a powerful example of independence. He fought in major battles at Springfield, Brandywine, and Germantown. He also served at Valley Forge as a lieutenant with the Jersey Blues. By leading raids against British troops and risking his life for freedom, Little showed independence not only in battle, but in his unwavering commitment to the revolutionary cause. Next, Stuart Hartshorn, best known as the developer of Short Hills and the inventor of the window shade roller. He embodied independence through vision and perseverance. After losing his father and brother at a young age, he persevered, entered the workforce early, and, went on to patent a successful shade roller. He also built a company that sold products worldwide and was ultra successful. Yet his independence showed most in his ideals, imagining a community where nature and harmony mattered more than commercial profit. At a time when commercial growth was the norm, his vision for Short Hills truly reflected independent thinking. Finally, Cora Hartshorn, daughter of Stuart and Joanna Hartshorn, was a powerful example of independence in both our town and our state. Best known for gifting the Arboretum to Short Hills, she also broke social norms by championing birth control rights. She founded the Short Hills Birth Control Committee in 1926 and served in the New Jersey League for Planned Parenthood until her death in 1958. By following her passions and her beliefs rather than society's expectations, Cora embodied a bold new kind of independence for women. I truly hope we can all learn something from these heroes and the inspiring lives they lived. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayan Mehta, and for the past year, I've worked on the 50th reunion exhibit for the class of 1975. When I first got in touch with the Historical Society, they were working on some last-minute touches for the class of 1974. After learning more about the reunion and writing an article about it, I realized that the next year, this is what I wanted to do. So I took a trip back in time. I went through hundreds of newspapers, articles, archives, basically anything you can think of. And this was my chance to really delve into our town's history and to find some nostalgia for some of the class members of 1975. I learned a lot of the incredible achievements of some of the class members, and there's lots of things like sports, limelight productions, and all sorts of things that we actually still have today. The main thing was that a lot of the stuff that I put in was things that took them back, and that was the most important, bringing them, taking a trip right back into the hallways of the Millburn High School. It's funny to see that even after 50 years, even though so much has changed, there's some stuff that quite never will go away. And one of the funniest, most Millburn things that I saw was that in 1975, they had 2 merit semifinalists of the year. And normally for any other city, that's pretty good. And when I read an editorial in the newspaper, just a couple pages down, it was all about, we must return to tradition, and we must make sure that we have at least a dozen or more merit semifinalists next year, and that this is a fluke. We must return to tradition. And now that is the most Millburn thing I've ever heard in my life. Only excellence demanded from our students. But when I met some of the class members, I learned a lot more than what I learned in school. This was a class that didn't necessarily have technology when they were growing up, and they didn't use it for like TikTok and YouTube videos, but instead they used it to reconnect after their high school years, 30 or so years after they graduated. I was shocked at how connected these class members were, hugging and reminiscing about the good old days. Sadly, if I was to think about my 50th reunion, I'm afraid it's going to be on a Zoom meeting. So I'm afraid that we might never have a lifestyle like the ones that they had. This project was more than a trip back. It was also discovering what brings people together. If there's anything that I would ask you all to take away from this presentation, it would be to remember. Remember the connections you've made throughout your life, because there's nothing better than looking back and smiling. Thank you.
These are the projects of the interns that were unable to make it here today. Those projects are Parcel Parkhurst and Campbell's Parcel House Tools, the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the Battle of Springfield, Native Americans, and Washington Rock and the WPA mural. Our work culminated in an open house on August 13th, 2025, where we were able to share our work with community members. These are some pictures from the open house. These are all of the interns that interned this year. We have really enjoyed our time working with the Historical Society this summer. I'm so lucky to have interned with the Historical Society 2 years in a row, and I can attest to the fact that we learn so many skills that we are able to use long after the summer ends. We would like to thank all of the interns that worked at the Historical Society this summer, including those of us who were unable to make it here today. We would like to say a big thank you to the Board of Trustees for giving us this wonderful opportunity to engage with our town's rich history. We would especially like to thank Mrs. Dorothy Kelly, Mr. Ed Marks, and Michelle Miller for supervising and guiding us through our projects and for making this summer so memorable. Thank you so much once again.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Kelly. Your work is always fantastic, always appreciated. I look forward to this presentation every year. Thank you to all the interns. Was there any questions or comments from the board members before we move on? Ms. Longer-Richards?
I'm just wondering if there was any research done on the actual correct pronunciation of hartshorn. I didn't know if that was part of that research. I think it's hartshorn. Hartshorn.
Okay. After much debate and discussion, I have the definitive answer, and the definitive answer comes from the family. There are 2 living descendants that I'm in contact with quite frequently, and they're a riot. They're so much fun. The correct pronunciation is Hartzorn. It is from German, so it's Hartzorn. And but when I do go to the school for caring kids, I don't say that because they don't know what I'm talking about. So I often do Hartshorn because they're like, who are you? So yes, that is Hartzorn.
All right, Dr. Diskin, next presentation, please.
Yes, thank you very much for all the interns that came tonight, and again to Ms. Kelly for everything that she's done and her team as well. So thank you so much. Tonight we have with us Megan Garland, our college and career counselor, along with Catherine Alvarez, our director of student counseling, that's going to present tonight a little bit about Millburn High School and their college report. This is an annual report that we do yearly, annual. And Megan has always come up to do a nice job, and we welcome her here again this evening. So I'll turn it over to Catherine for introductions.
Sure. Good evening. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm really here just to introduce Megan, our amazing college counselor, and I'm just so honored to be working with her this year. And she's bringing so much creativity to the college-driven culture that we're really just promoting in our department. So with so much honor, I introduce Megan Garland to this presentation tonight.
Thank you so much. I feel like after the presentation from all these students, I don't even need to give this report because it's kind of self-explanatory. We have just such amazing, talented students, and you know, it's really a privilege to work with them. So on to the good stuff. I'm happy to be here tonight to share this report of the graduates of the class of 2025. I'm going to begin with a few of the admission trends that we saw in last year's application cycle. A few things that made the application cycle unique, and then we'll move on to the enrollment information. So, first things first, the class of 2025 was the largest graduating class in U.S. history. So, what that means for us is that it was likely the most competitive year for college applications as well. It's also the largest class for the foreseeable future because, as many of you know, we had a pretty steep decline in birth rate for our current seniors. So, we're hoping that that works in our favor for this year. Okay, so some trends that we have. The increase in application numbers. Now, this has been something that's been a trend for several years in a row. And it's something that we see reflected nationally, but also with our Millburn students. So applications are up, but generally the growth has been concentrated. Common Application, which is the major platform for college applications, had a 5% increase in applicants and also an 8% increase in the total number of applications year over year. So what we see here is our students also applying to more schools. It's not that we have more students, it's that our students are applying to more schools. Notably, we saw growth in applications to public universities and a little bit more away from the ultra-selective tier, probably because the ultra-selective schools have lower admit rates than they have ever in history. So what happens there is when early admissions are up, we see a lot more deferrals and wait lists. So we saw a big spike in those early admissions. It rose 17%, and early decision rose 4%. So I'll talk a little bit more about the implication of the deferrals and wait lists a little bit later in the presentation. Okay, another trend that's happening particularly for our northeast area, and certainly in Millburn, we're seeing it reflected. Students are migrating south. I'm sure Dr. Diskin and I both have students. Yes, we have students who have migrated south themselves. So we're seeing lots more draw to the public universities. Lots of reasons for this. They certainly cite warm weather. Sometimes lower tuition, warmer climates, stronger sports culture, and career opportunities. We're seeing this. They're looking for affordable, vibrant campus experiences, and these will continue to get more competitive as there is more interest. We also saw a return, more of a return to standardized testing. So what's interesting is that the member colleges of the Common App, so most of the colleges in the country, only 5% of them actually required test scores. But what we saw is a growth in test score submission, and we saw an increase in the highly selective schools returning to test scores. One of the things that we read about and we hear about from admissions reps is they're seeing nationwide an issue of grade inflation, so it makes the GPAs harder to interpret. So they're moving more towards looking at test required policies to help figure that all out. So the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action, this has been something that's been in effect for the last couple of cycles. It was very unpredictable in the beginning, but it's continuing to impact the college process. What we're seeing is that many of the colleges are using supplemental essays to help understand students' lived experiences and cultural backgrounds. Since they can't get the checkbox on the demographic like they used to, they're looking to build diverse classes, and this is how they're kind of getting around that. Very new to the news right now is a program from College Board called Landscape. So what this is, when admissions readers are reading an application, they would typically look at this program called Landscape and see demographic information. They would see information relative to the town, things like average test scores, accessibility to APs, even the relative affluence or the resources of the area. Super granular down to the street level. Quietly last week, College Board decided to discontinue this program. They talked about being under scrutiny for equity issues, lawsuits. You'll see lots of things in the education world are under scrutiny for these things. So colleges this year, what that means for our students is that they will be looking for other ways to get this information. It may mean a little bit unpredictable reading. It may mean that they're creating new programs to do this, but they want to find out these things and build a diverse class. So for our students, again, that supplemental essay is going to be a big thing. Okay, so the FAFSA. for the past 2 years has been somewhat of I don't want to quite call it a disaster, but it's had many bumps along the way. Last year, again, there were major delays and glitches, including a 9% drop in first-time FAFSA submissions. What this really means is that for colleges, the aid packages and the financial aid appeals carried out a lot longer into the process. So aid letters arrived later for families. It impacted decisions as they were weighing the affordability of schools. And a lot of colleges, particularly what we saw, is they were leaning a lot more on wait lists this year. There was a lot of wait list movement, late spring outreach to help manage their yield. So we had lots of students getting different offers and changing their decisions, and it kind of creates a ripple effect and changes the admissions timeline, if you will. So another trend is the rise of what we call the new Ivies. This is not necessarily new to Millburn because we have students applying to competitive colleges all over, but with the Ivy League acceptance rates at record lows, many students are turning to the academically elite alternatives, schools like Vanderbilt, Rice, Emory, WashU, NYU, and Notre Dame. Also, public flagships like UT Austin and University of Michigan are gaining national prestige, offering world-class programs and strong alumni networks. These schools are ramping up in competitive admissions, and they should be taken just as seriously as traditional Ivies. Okay, and I think I touched on this last year a little bit. We're seeing a little bit more about this, and again, it comes back to that contextual information for students. So many of the more competitive schools are offering optional video introductions. So it is an effort to humanize the process, to handle application volume. They're doing short videos to get to know students and help understand how to build those diverse classes. So I listed some of the schools that are offering this now. For schools right now, it's an optional, it's not a required thing, but we do encourage our students to take advantage of it, and we help advise them in how to best do that. Okay. And the big topic is AI and admissions. It seems to be the big topic everywhere. We look at it as helpful but controversial, right? It is playing a growing role not just for our students who are generating ideas for essays, but actually in the review process for admissions. About half of US colleges use AI in some capacity, and it's something that schools are really wrestling with. So this is a conversation that I have with college reps who come and visit us, and when I attend webinars to get updates on admission, I always ask, are you using AI? How are you using it? How is it affecting our kids? So all of the feedback that I've gotten from the schools our kids are applying to is that they might be using it to aggregate some data or to do their testing out, some pre-screens, but they're not making decisions based on AI. They're not, the schools that have holistic reviews are not eliminating applications from the review process. Every application is still getting that human piece, and the decision making is all human. I've had some schools, I talked to a rep this week, and she said they did sort of a test run workshop to see what that looked like, and they all seem to have the same reaction. They don't like it. The best part is, you know, getting to know the students, reading their essays, reading their recommendations, and having them come to life. So we don't anticipate that that piece will change anytime soon. Okay, so on to the stuff that everyone really cares about. Here are the results for the class of 2025. We had the highest number in recent history in terms of attendance at four-year colleges, 98.3. It's nearly impossible to do better than that, especially in a super competitive year. So 98.3% of last year's class are attending four-year colleges. 0.56% are attending two-year colleges after graduation. 0.56% are taking a gap year, with plans to attend a four-year college after, and 0.84% of MHS students are entering the workforce, attending a trade school or apprenticeship, or entering the military. So, like I mentioned, it's a pretty stable number here for us in Millburn. This is no surprise. We've had over 95%. I looked back to 2021 up to the present, and this year has been our best year yet, but we are stable across the board in this area. Okay, so to get a little more granular with it, we had 4,580 applications sent to colleges this past year. Of those 4,580, we had 1,943 acceptances, and 794 applications of the 4,580 were withdrawn after early acceptances. So those are applications that were never fully through the review process. They were withdrawn before they were reviewed. I mentioned the waitlist movement and the deferrals because of the increase in applications. We had 436 waitlist decisions last year, and 39 accepted after the waitlist, so around 9%. This may be, it's as accurate as we can get. We had such late movement on the waitlist this year, going well into late July, some even early August, and we don't necessarily know about some of the offers that students did not accept. We know the ones that they did accept because we send their transcripts, but there may have been offers after graduation that we don't know about. Still, 9% off of a wait list is higher than what most schools present in terms of percentages. We had 296 deferrals and from either early decision or early action, and 49 students accepted after the deferral. So the deferral rate was about 16.6%. That turned into an actual offer of admission. This is probably higher than the national average, which I think in terms of deferrals, usually I hear numbers around 5 or 6%. So this was really positive. Our students are attending 146 different colleges in 24 states and 6 different countries. If you look at the map up there, Canada, England, Hong Kong, Ireland, Italy, Scotland, and Spain this year. Our students are certainly not afraid to travel. It's a wonderful thing. The overall acceptance rate was 51.3% for all applications that were put out, and the average number of applications per student was 13.9, and that ranged anywhere from 1 to 39. Okay, so in terms of early applications, 26% of our class accepted an offer through an early decision, a binding early decision admission plan. So that's 93 of our students were settled through ED. 1,064 was the number of early action acceptances, which is very high. So in terms of where our students are attending, we have a little bit of change from last year. Our students do gravitate towards the larger public flagship schools, but we also have some private schools in there in the mix. So Rutgers by far is the winner in terms of the most number of Millburn High School students at 30, followed by NYU, University of Delaware. Purdue was a big uptick this year for us. Lehigh, Syracuse, Wisconsin, Boston University, Cornell, and Indiana. Those are the most popular colleges for our students to matriculate. In terms of most acceptances, these are the colleges with the highest number of accepted students. Rutgers still wins the prize. I believe it was 114 acceptances in a year that was very, very selective for Rutgers, so that's a wonderful thing as well. Indiana, Pittsburgh, Delaware, Ohio State, again with the bigger flagship schools. Northeastern, Binghamton, Syracuse, Colorado, Purdue, Maryland, and American University. Okay, so we took a look at the colleges with 20 or more applications and kind of gauged how our students did at those schools. So this is not a comprehensive list, but it's schools with 20 or more applications, which covers the vast majority of the schools that our students are applying to. These are in alphabetical order, and I believe this will be posted for the public to see, so you can dig into the numbers a little bit more. But we posted the number of student applications, the number accepted, and then the acceptance rate, so the percentage. The vast majority of these schools, if you look at the published acceptance rate for the overall college, our students do better than what the school reports for their average. So that's a wonderful thing. You will see little things here and there with certain schools. I can call out Vanderbilt, for example. You'll see a 2.6 admit rate, and that looks super low, right? But if you look at the context and understand the application process, that's a school that is part of what's called STARS, and it's an institutional priority for them to reach out to small towns and rural students. We don't fall into any of those categories right now, so it was a tougher year for anyone who doesn't fall into that category, right? Despite that, and we didn't have a huge number of students applying certainly early. Their early decision rate, they took the bulk of their class early decision. We didn't have a lot of early students, but their regular decision rate nationally was only 3.3%. It's lower than any of the Ivies and other highly selective schools. So that's just context for some of the ones that might look a little bit strange, I guess. So we also listed our full enrollment and matriculation, and again, you'll be able to view this as it's posted on our website. We listed all of the schools, and then next to it is the number of students matriculating in those individual schools. If you see no number, it means it's just one student, and then the numbers follow there. So this is something we're always very proud of. If you look at the caliber of schools, it's incredibly impressive. Okay, so more of the stuff we love to hear about. 80.1% of the class of 2025 are attending the nation's top 100 colleges and universities. So this is national universities and then national liberal arts colleges. 46.2% are attending the nation's top 50 colleges and universities, and 33.6%, so a third of our class, are attending colleges and universities with the lowest admit rates in the country, meaning under 30%. Again, just anecdotally, I always like to see what the trends are for our students and what majors they're applying to, what careers they're after. No surprise, business, economics, finance, marketing, and management were up at the top. Data science has been popular for the last few years. Now a lot of the programs are adding AI majors that are kind of linked, a hybrid between data science, computer science, sometimes even physics. So we see a lot of our engineering students. We also have a high number of students interested in political science, pre-med, psychology, biochemistry, and then I'd like to definitely point out this year, our art and design students had a phenomenal year in admissions. We're sending our art students to the top art schools in the country. We're sending 2 students to RISD, which their acceptance rate is like unbelievably low. School of the Art Institute of Chicago, Cooper Union, just amazing art and design schools, and that's a big shout out to our art department, which is no surprise. We hear about them often in these meetings, right? Just to give you an idea of what it looks like in our department, last year we had 132 admission reps visiting MHS, presenting to our students. The visits are open to all juniors and seniors with teacher permission, of course. Counselors meet with all the college reps. Students sign up for these visits in Naviance. So we post the visit calendar. It's in our daily bulletin email. It's on our website, and it's available for the students also in Naviance. Just a peek into what our counselors are doing behind the scenes. Last application cycle, our counselors visited several universities for campus tours, invited to visit these particular programs. You can see the list of colleges that were visited in person, and then also attending local programs that colleges put on when they come to us and give us the most updated information about their application cycles and how to best support our students. So we've got, you know, a great list here. It's not a comprehensive list, but just a look into what we're doing behind the scenes to position our Millburn students the best way that we can. And on that note, I just want to make a special shout out right now to the Millburn Ed Foundation. We have 2 counselors, including myself, tomorrow leaving for the National Association of College Admission Counselors Conference. It's a huge conference. It's every college in the country. It's a lot of networking, a lot of learning about best practices, also some college visits in the Ohio area. So we are unbelievably grateful for this professional development opportunity, and we're excited to bring this back to all of the counselors and to our students. So thank you very much. Just a little plug for our college fair. We have this also available on our website. Students can sign up. We use a program called Strive Scan, and students put in their information. It's basically like a virtual information card for the colleges. They're able to just scan each other, and the college then will know that your student is interested and put them on their radars. So it's September 29th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the high school. And again, thank you for the PTO for helping support that program for us. Lots of plugs tonight, right? And then just some upcoming events that our office is, you know, presenting in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, a financial aid night to help our students figure out all of the financial stuff ahead of time. We are very lucky to be hosting a University of California application night. So I reached out to some reps last year and noticed that we have students who are very interested in the UC schools. They have a very unique application process. It's very similar to the Common App, but it has very different rules. So we are bringing in representatives from several of those campuses to help our students fill out those applications. And then again, we have some presentations for our families on our roadmap to college and how colleges work in their admission committees. So lots of good stuff for our parents to get up to date on the information. Resources, again, when this is posted for your students to make the most of the college fair, links to our college calendar and our news website. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Garland. Ms. Alvarez, I'm sure someone on the board has a question.
Sure.
No? No?
Yeah.
Mr. Bigman.
Hi, thank you, Mrs. Garland. Actually,
Sure.
I had a comment and a question. So
Okay.
the first comment was that was the second presentation that I saw from you this week. And I was in love with both of them because they were full of data, they were full of information, even though we had been through the process before. I thought was especially valuable for families that may not have been through it. It included deadlines, it included so much communication and information because it's not really a very straightforward process.
That's true.
The one thing I did have as a question, as a follow-up to maybe both of the presentations, and it was really in particular related to the comment about grade inflation.
Yep.
One of the things that I think about in the future is trying to figure out how students in that type of environment, especially from Millburn and also what we've potentially changed in the past, how they compete and how they differentiate themselves.
Right.
And, you know, in that regard, I was wondering how colleges view our grades, how they view the weighted grade averages that we
Sure.
provide to them through the Common App.
Sure. So there, again, like you mentioned, it's not a straightforward process because every school is a little bit different, but it's something that we collect data on as well when we meet with admissions reps. We ask them if they recalculate GPAs, how they're looking at things, kind of as much as we can get out of them, in the admission process, we try to get that information. So I would say it's safe to say that the majority of schools are doing a GPA recalculation. So they're taking the weighting out and they're realigning it to the traditional 4.0 scale. So where 4 is an A, 3 is a B, etc. Then what they do is they have their own complicated way of adding points for rigor. And sometimes that's rigor of the high school environment, knowing that we are a stronger high school than some of our peers. And sometimes often it's the rigor of courses. Every college is unique and different in that way. Some colleges will bring it down to just core classes. They won't consider any electives. They won't consider some of the classes that are outside those traditional core classes. Other schools will look at everything outside of perhaps PE usually doesn't get calculated into a GPA. And there are some schools that just take the GPA at face value for what it is, and they get context in other ways. So in terms of our students, it's going to be interesting to see. What I'm seeing right now is that some colleges are tweaking their admissions processes a little bit to help tease that out. So I think I mentioned it at the senior parent night. A school like Indiana University, which is a common school for our students to apply to, and our students are particularly attracted to the highly ranked business school, the Kelley School. In the past, the decision was made based on straight GPA and test scores, right? They had a threshold, and if you were above it, it was a direct admit. They're noticing, and they talked about two factors: grade inflation nationwide and the increased use of AI from students. So what they're doing now is they're actually not doing that direct admit anymore. They're paying much more attention to rigor of curriculum. They're creating extra steps for students to kind of figure out which students are more interested in business. So I'm seeing this across the board, that colleges are kind of shifting what they're looking for and how to get that differentiation in other ways. So for our students in particular, one of the things that we really emphasize with them are those supplemental essays to make sure that that's an area where they can stand out.
Great, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Ms. Spells?
Yep. Thank you. That was a great presentation. One quick question. You mentioned the discontinuation of landscape.
Yes.
Overall, while of course it's unique to every student, in every school, do you think that's going to be more of a positive or a negative for our students?
So I think right now it's probably neutral. I think the goal for most colleges is to build a diverse class, and it doesn't necessarily mean just what we've been hearing in the media in terms of outreach to underserved populations. While that's certainly part of it, we have some benefits too. I spoke to an admissions rep from a Midwest school, and she mentioned that our students get points for mobility. So meaning they know that our students are capable of, going away to school, that they will travel, that they have the resources to travel. So sometimes that's a positive for our students as well. And then there are schools that are not need blind, and they're looking for, sort of students who can pay full tuition and help support their process. So I don't see a major cause and effect with the landscape program. Where I do see it sort of interacting is just making the process a little bit less clear. And so in terms of how that affects admissions this year, it may take them a little extra time. There might be deferrals as a result, just because they're trying to figure it all out. It was very quietly announced this past week, so I think schools are still trying to figure it out. Hope that answers your question.
Mr. Farashud?
Yeah, Ms. Garland, great presentation. Thank you very much. You mentioned the use of AI by the college admissions offices.
Yes.
That is interesting. It's somewhat concerning. It's early days, so as you learn more from some of these conferences, it would be great if you could come back and share with the broad community
Yeah.
what you're learning about the use of AI by these by the
Absolutely.
admissions offices.
Yeah, it's a hot topic everywhere right now, and it's something we really make sure that we're asking every school that comes to visit us, and also any of the professional webinars that we attend. It's a question that's on everyone's minds.
Ms. Bethina?
Ms. Garland, thank you so much for this presentation. I also wanted to give you a shout out for the senior parent night. I thought that there was a lot of good information. I did have one comment from multiple parents actually. For rising seniors, it would be, or current seniors, it would be amazing if we would have this, that senior parent night a little earlier on. So maybe like in January or something, just because I think there's a lot of parents who are like, I wish I'd have known this 3 months ago or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So I think just from that perspective, a lot of, especially the first-time parents, first-time senior parents.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information, and it'd be amazing to have it early.
Yeah, and I hope that they will look back to some of the junior programs that we do, because we added an additional presentation at the end of the year to get them prepped for that. So if they want to look back at the counseling news, we do have those all posted as well. But thank you for the feedback. Yeah. All good.
Oh, Mr. Farashudin?
I heard a lot of great things about that senior parent night. I couldn't make it because of work, so would you email it out to all the parents? and make it
Absolutely.
available?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. And just another quick shout out. We really amped, because I know Mr. Bigman had asked about how are these students going to stand out? And one of the things that we really made as an initiative this year is our essay workshops and essay feedback, both with, I offered across the summer and throughout the school year. It's the majority of what I'm doing right now, but also our English department has been hosting workshops for students to help with the essay review. So to support our students as much as possible, we've really amped that up.
Thank you so much, Ms. Garland.
Thank you.
We have one more, Dr. Diskin?
Yes, great. Thank you so much, Ms. Garland, and for the guidance department. We look forward to hearing more from you throughout the year, so thank you so much for coming tonight. We also have our annual report from our tech department. We talk a little bit about what has happened this fall, prepping up for the school year, and then perhaps some things that we're going to look forward to as we continuously improve our technology department. So we thank Mr. Scara for coming tonight as our Director of Technology.
Thank you, Dr. Diskin. Continuing the theme of providing resources and items to have our students continue to succeed and strive for better, one of the things we do every year is we provide new Chromebooks for our students in grades 5 and grade 9. That's what it looks like half unboxed, and that's what it looks like when we distribute, nice and clean. And what we do is we take the Chromebooks that students return to us who are leaving us in grade 12 and moving on to the high school in grade 8, we reuse them and we bring them down to the elementary schools and continue to use our resources in the most efficient way possible. Also in K-1, we provide them with QR codes because our students in grades K-1 can't really type that well. So we use a QR code for them to log into. We found that we did that last year and we found great success. We're continuing that again for this year. Also, our high school video studio has got a complete new upgrade. We consulted with our video studio teacher on exactly what kinds of resources he felt was the best for our students. So we customized those for our students there. Also, we installed several new start boards and also repositioned them so they're more centered and more appropriate. Again, we worked with the instructors in those spaces to make sure that the installations were exactly as the instructors wanted them to be. Other kinds of presentation spaces, brand new projector item in the Glenwood schools and in the South Mountain School. Those are both taken inside of full daylight. So those screens are nice and bright. And also, as we mentioned last time we were together, the Millburn sign at the Millburn Middle School is active again. I always like driving past that and seeing it active. Some of the back-end items, people who are running Windows 10 on their machines, I don't know if you know this, but Windows 10 will no longer be supported by Microsoft as of the 14th of October. So if you still have a Windows 10 machine, please make sure that you get it updated to Windows 11 because it will not receive any updates. We're taking care of that. And with input from our security officers and our principals, we've added additional security cameras. And no, I'm not going to show you a picture of where those cameras are. Speaking of our school counselors, we've reorganized some of the spaces that were there previously. The purples are all new. And because of that, we were able to make additional meeting spaces and a lovely little break room over in the counselor space. It's completely redesigned. I love the orange chairs. We've also implemented a new phone system, which will allow several different items, including a mobile phone app. So as our staff members move around the district, they can still be in communication with each other. Other items, Mr. Stars and I have been very heavily involved in using our resource called Incident IQ, which will allow us to allow internal members of our staff as well as external members of a community to reserve spaces. So we know, oh, we need this number of chairs, we need projectors, we need Wi-Fi access, those kinds of things. So it's expanding a tool that's already in use. Additionally, on the back end, we run virtual servers running on vSphere 7, vSphere, that's easy for me to say. vSphere 7 is also going end of life. So we've, in fact, over the last week or so, we've upgraded all of our virtual servers to vSphere 8. Things that include critical processes like purchasing and payroll, our door access control, our Active Directory servers, Google Sync, and our network monitoring tool. And in the near future, again, thank you for the help of Ms. Garland and Ms. Alvarez, we are going to be repurposing a lot of the screens that we have in our schools already. It's currently a trophy case, but it's going to be something like an airport flight information screen, which will include information such as college programs, college visits, testing dates, those various writing opportunities. So it might look something like this. Instead of when does the flight depart, when will Rutgers University be here? When will the Lackawanna Coalition have their public service events? So all kinds of use of technology in the counseling department. Again, building on what they had just said a moment ago. So I want to thank you for hearing all about the technology upgrades in the Millburn schools.
That was fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Scara. You seem to be the only one that the microphone works perfectly for.
Well, I interact with it the most, perhaps.
Yes. Any questions, comments from the board members? Thank you again.
Glad to do it.
All right, moving on. Board President's report, just 2 items tonight. We thought we'd pull forward one of the personnel items as a separate motion, and that's the motion to appoint the high school principal. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the appointment of Robert B. Nixon Jr. as the principal of Millburn High School at an annual salary of $218,000 prorated, effective December 15th, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Can I have, oh, I made the motion, yeah. Mr. Lawrence, a second. Mr. Farashudin? Roll call, please. Is it a roll call? Yes, roll call, please.
Ms. Patena?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Let me turn it over to Dr. Diskin to talk a little bit about the process, and certainly welcome.
Yes, welcome. We'd like to welcome our new principal of Millburn High School. Mr. Nixon brings nearly 30 years of experience in education with more than 20 years in leadership. Most recently, he served as principal of Governor Livingston High School, where he built a culture of inclusivity, academic excellence, and mentorship.
Certainly, he's here tonight, eager to join the Millburn community, embrace the traditions of Millburn High School, and partner with staff, students, and families to advance our students' success. We certainly look forward to welcoming him officially on December 15th. He will begin, but he will be in and about the district in various transition components. I do want to just mention that the appointment of Mr. Nixon follows a very extensive search led by Strategic Educational Advantage, or SEA. They gathered input from students, staff, and community members, created a leadership profile, carefully vetted the candidate pool. SEA screened over 51 applicants, from which they provided a strong field to us of 10 candidates to be interviewed by the district. Just a note on that, 41 of those candidates were from New Jersey and 10 from surrounding states. Over the course of 3 interview rounds, panels made up of teachers, administrators, our PTO president, community members, Board of Education representatives, thoughtfully evaluated each candidate. That inclusive approach ensured that a wide range of perspectives and voices were represented in this decision-making process, reflecting the values of our Millburn community. We are confident that this decision process has brought us the most outstanding educational leader, and we look forward to the positive impact that Mr. Nixon will have on our students, staff, and families in the years to come. Congratulations. And with that, I'd like to invite you up for an official round of Millburn swag.
So one note,
So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to see everybody, and I really want to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to Dr. Diskin, her team, and the Board of Education for entrusting me with this responsibility. I assure you, it's one that I take very seriously. I also wanted to acknowledge and express appreciation for all of the teachers, administrators, community members who took part in the interview process. It gave me great perspective about the school district and the community. It also verified for me, what I already knew about the Millburn district, is that there's a great commitment to student achievement and academic excellence, something that I am very, very interested in myself. I'd also like to thank my family who joined me here tonight. My wife, Shannon, who, fun fact, used to teach at Wyoming School prior to our son being born. My son, Bobby, who is a high school junior, and our daughter, who unfortunately was sent home from school sick today, couldn't be with us, but she's a high school sophomore. So I have a great perspective about what parents of high school students are currently going through as well. So I think that helps me in my decision-making process. But it's very important to me that I had their trust. They've known nothing but me working at one school since they were 3 years old in one. Trusting me through this process is something that I really appreciate. So thanks, guys. Over the next few months, I really look forward to rolling up my sleeves and getting to work, getting to know the culture, getting to know some of the policies and practices and all of those components that makes the Millburn School District great. I also look forward to getting to know the staff, the students, and the community members. Relationships are vital. And while relationships don't guarantee success, it's awfully hard to have success without those great relationships. So that's something I look forward to developing. So if you have an opportunity to see me, please say hi. Shake my hand, share something about yourself, let me know things that you think are great. Let me know things that perhaps are something that you're wondering about, and I look forward to collecting some of that information from all of you and working together. So again, thanks so much for the great welcome tonight, and I really look forward to working with every single one of you. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome again. I just want to note that our interim principal still be in full force till December 15th. Mr. Bill Lochran, can't thank him enough for taking on the role, opening school, and moving the ball forward. Even though he knows he was an interim, he's still done a lot of things which we really appreciate. So I believe we have a kind of full agenda to welcome the new principal, including meeting staff and parents. So you'll be hearing more about those events when we get them calendared. Second thing I just want to talk about really quick was Rocktoberfest. Cannot thank the MEF enough. I could actually I could probably go on for about a half an hour of all the people who were involved to make this happen. But of course, maybe I'll just thank the ringleaders, Joanna Parker-Lenz and Nicole Richter, for kind of pulling it all together, and maybe the shout out to the board members. I think Mr. Farashuted, Mr. Bigman, Ms. Long-Rinchards, and of course Ms. Speltz had kind of huge roles in it. I believe everyone else attended or volunteered. I think I spent 10 hours between Friday and Saturday volunteering there, even though I didn't get a t-shirt or have an official role. No, I'm just making fun about t-shirt equity. But yeah, it was so much fun. I almost forget that the whole point of the thing is to raise money for the schools and promote the school system. So thank you for everyone who contributed, volunteered. Can't say enough, except let's do better next year. Okay, what was that historical presentation? 10,000 people used to gather for that. So we have some work to do. Yeah, bring back Bonnie. That's the new thing. All right. Enough of this foolishness. Dr. Diskin, can you return us to serious business?
Sure, 100%. So I also want to mention about the Rocktoberfest, and thank you. John and I were part of a cornhole tournament. I hurt my arm a little bit, so Mr. Finkelstein had to step in to take my replacement. So while we did not win, we certainly came in a good, I don't know, fifth or so. Anyhow, the energy out there was so exciting. We were there in the beginning of the day. Again, one of the biggest fundraisers. We thank all the community members for their participation. It was so great to see not only board members there, but a lot of our faculty. I saw Miss Alvarez and Miss Richardson. I know Christy Young was there. It was probably one of the most exciting turnouts that I've seen for an administrative staff to support the schools. I know a lot of principals were there as well. So I thank them for that and for taking time to support our schools. The food was delicious. You had the lobster roll, the empanadas, right? And that great lemonade was awesome. So thank you so much to the MEF for all of their participation. I do want to mention again for senior night, that was held, a milestone in that college journey. Earlier this week, our college counselors led that parent night, especially evening dedicated to supporting our families during that pivotal stage of the college application journey. The event served as that milestone for our seniors as they brought together the guidance of their teachers, counselors, and families to launch their final year of prep for college acceptance. Insights were shared, ranging from reviewing essays to finalizing the details in their application, and highlighting that collaboration between staff and families helps to set our seniors up for success. We also had back-to-school nights last week. We had the opportunity to attend our back-to-school nights at Glenwood, Hartshorne, Wyoming, and Deerfield. And upcoming back-to-school nights this week are Washington on the 16th, South Mountain and Preschool on the 17th, 6th grade on the 18th, and the Millburn High School the 25th, and the 30th is 7th and 8th grade at the middle school. The first of our series of superintendent fire chats will be scheduled and take place on October 7th at 1 p.m. at the Bauer Community Center. Catherine Alvarez, the Director of Student Support and Guidance, and Jen Soa, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support and Special Services, are going to be helping to lead that conversation and that discussion on the district's vision for student support and guidance services. While space is limited to 25, information can be found on the district's website. And that concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you very much. Moving on to board committee reports. Mr. Lawrence, can you take us through finance,
Yes.
facilities, and sustainability?
Yes, thank you. Board members present was Brian Lawrence, Jennifer Bethina, Asaf Shuden, and Noel Bigman. Staff President Peter Storrs, Dan Knight, Tom Lawton, and Dr. Diskin. The Finance and Facilities Committee met on September 9th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Discussed the following. Facilities review, transportation update was a smooth opening with 1,493 total students transported, of which are 822 subscription riders. 4 routes were able to be consolidated for greater efficiencies. Received an update on the potential field project with the township to move forward with a plan to convert 189,000 feet of grass fields to synthetic turf, multi-purpose fields, and add lighting and extended use. An agreement with the township will be drafted and then provided to the board for approval. South Mountain School sewer line repairs completed. Summer projects update. Millburn High School stage fly rail system installation is in progress still. Electrical, carpentry, and masonry continues. Steel delivery is delayed, pushing completion date for December 2025. Lobby first and second floor drywall installation almost complete. AV installed to begin mid-September. Auditorium roofing is watertight. Science labs completed. 5 HVAC rooftop unit replacements completed. HVAC air handlers still in progress. And from the ROD grant, old boilers removed and new controls and piping are in progress. Millburn Middle School, rooftop units, gas pipe connections are in progress. Washington School, air handler is completed. Wyoming School, cafeteria and basement classroom HVAC is completed. ROD grant, new boilers installation is in progress. South Mountain School, retaining wall about to start. And gym HVAC upgrade is complete. Horchcon School, media center glass walls delayed and scheduled for completion end of September. Finance review, audit for 2025-26 school year is in progress. Budget process for 26-27 school year commences mid-September. Resolutions, the committee reviewed and recommends the following items for approval by the full board. Bill is dated September 15th, 2025. Recommend approval of the following use of contract allowances. M&M Construction, Science Lab, first amount $4,015, second amount $6,240. Amcor boiler replacements, first amount $12,650 and 33 cents, second amount $11,648. Recommend the following payment applications from Marshall for the high school roof, $182,824.60. The meeting ended at 7:05 p.m. Thank you.
Any questions? Ms. Longer-Richards?
Just a question on the auditorium project, seeing that it might be delayed. Is that going to be, do you think it'll be done by like the fall, I mean, maybe not for the fall play or for the holiday concerts, and I don't know if there's a plan for that.
We've encouraged them to find alternative space for through anything that was going to occur before mid-December. So they're in the works of doing that.
And we're looking probably outside the district then, or are we looking at district spaces?
I believe he's looking at district space with possibly the middle school.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions?
We just wanted to add that program committee.
Yeah, we had a program meeting Friday, and you're ready with the minutes, Mr. Finkelstein? Please proceed. Thank you.
Apologies for late submission there, but the program committee met on Friday, September 12th at 2:30 p.m. Board members present were myself, Ms. Longley-Richards, Ms. Shivani, and Ms. Bethina. Staff present were Dr. Diskin, Mr. Connolly, Ms. Alvarez, Ms. Soa, and Ms. Garland. First, Mr. Connolly provided a brief update and correction to the private school data from last week that he's about to discuss. The committee heard a draft of the college and university presentation from Ms. Garland. The committee asked many questions and made some suggestions on the data presented. Ms. Alvarez then provided a follow-up on potential changes to the high school profile and updates. The committee provided feedback to the changes. Ms. Alvarez was preparing the final data and edits to share with the committee in the near future. There was a brief discussion of some of the new security and other procedures at the high school, and the meeting concluded at 4 p.m.
Excellent. Any questions for program? Thank you. Moving on to administrator reports. Mr. Conley, do you have something for us this evening?
I do.
Fantastic.
Good evening, everyone. Last week, I presented my grading and assessment update. I presented private school data, exit data that included an error. Upon review, it was discovered that an unrelated attendance codes were mistakenly combined with private school data for both September and May. The data has been corrected, and the key findings remain the same. Private school departures, especially from 8th to 9th, continue to show a downward trend. The updated presentation will be reposted Tuesday morning, September 16th, 2025. Copies of the corrected data have been shared with the Board of Education and are available tonight alongside the agenda and the personnel report. National Merit Scholars. More than 1.3 million students enter the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program by taking the PSATs and the NMSQT as juniors. And less than 1% of the U.S. high school seniors qualify as semifinalists. This year, 16 Millburn high school students have been named semifinalists in the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program. These students now will compete for scholarships awarded in the spring. This year's semifinalists are displayed on the screen below. The following students were nominated for the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program: Rohan Agrawal, Reina Betrega, Sachi Chattopadhyay, Ayan Dalmia, Aryan Jain, Ashkahar Kumar, Ishan Modi, Kedar Shankarana, Sanja Shavitruva, Subiksha Stepan, Padri Tiagi, Alexander Wang, Nikki Wang, Abi Bathua, Francesca Hawksworth, and Maxwell Mayo. Congratulations to the Millburn High School's 2026 National Merit Scholarship finalists. The high school robotics team competed in the weekend's tournament featuring 94 elite teams from 14 states and Canada. While no awards were won, teams 7405R and 7405M qualified for the top 32 elimination rounds, with 7405R reaching the quarterfinals. A strong showing overall. It was a valuable experience that set a positive tone for the season. The Hispanic Heritage Month. Hispanic Heritage Month, celebrated from September 15th to October 15th, honors the contributions of Hispanic Americans to our culture and history. Millburn Middle School will highlight Hispanic heritage facts throughout the month. At the elementary level, students at Hartshorn and South Mountain enjoyed a read aloud of Alma and How She Got Her Name by Juana Martinez Neal. This story beautifully explores the identity of family and cultural heritage. Rocktoberfest. Yes, I was a participant in the cornhole tournament with Mr. Finkelstein and Dr. Diskin, and we did quite well. At least we thought we did. We were legends in our own minds. But many thanks to the co-chairs, Joanna Parker-Lentz and Mikola Ricker, as well as the many volunteers who volunteered tirelessly to make annual fundraisers for Millburn Education Foundation successful. Thanks to our Millburn community who came out to support. It was a great day with fantastic weather and fun for all. And then a recap for Millburn Athletics. The Millburn Millers had a productive week across the various sports, with multiple teams securing key victories and showcasing strong performances. Boys soccer, they are 1-2 on the season. The Miller boys soccer team picked up its first victory of the season, defeating Caldwell 2-0. Goalie Jesse Bosselman was a standout performer, recording 10 saves in the shutout win. Girls cross country, they're 3-0 on the season. The girls cross country team started their season with a perfect record, winning the first meet against Mount St. Dominic's Academy and MKA and Bloomfield. Junior Sophie Van Roon led the way for the Millers, finishing with a time of 20:57. As a former cross country coach, I would have taken that every time. Field hockey is 0-3-1 on the season so far. The field hockey team secured a hard-fought 1-1 tie against Scotch Plains last week. Senior Ann Stakia and junior Lexi Factor continue to be offensive threats for the team, each with 2 goals on the year. Girls volleyball is 3-2. Girls volleyball had a successful week, earning 3 decisive 2-0 victories against West Essex, MKA, and Chatham. The team's offensive powerhouse, led by Lily Filipov and junior Avika Vijay Raghavan, who each tallied 30 kills. Wow. And then girls tennis, 5-1 on the season. The preseason ranked number 8 girls tennis team continued their impressive run and dominant 4-1 victories over Columbia and Verona. The team's strong start has earned them the number 2 seed in the upcoming Essex County tournament, which begins on Tuesday. Respectfully submitted, John Conley. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly. I appreciate the correction to the data. We've been continuing to push for transparency, and these reports, a lot of them we're doing for the first time within the last 12 months. As they become more standard, I think all these things, it'll be routine. But we'd rather push it out there. Maybe we don't always get it right, but we do our best, and we'll certainly correct where we do find issues. So I think that's good. All right, first round of public comments. Please state your name and address for the record. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Responses to questions and comments will be posted to the district website before the next board meeting or within 10 school days. Yes. Please, go ahead.
Okay, so I am Mariana Davila. I live on Parsonage Hill Road, and this is Laura Eggy. She lives on Marion, and we are the co-chairs of the MEF, the Millburn Education Foundation. And we really appreciate the shout-outs about Rocktoberfest, but we came to just say thank you to the Board of Ed members that volunteered, all the hours you spent, the administrators who attended and had fun. Next year, for sure, you guys are going to be better at cornhole. My husband also played with my son, and it was tragic. So he's also going to train for next year. But we had so many Millburn staff, administrators, students, community members. We had over 80 adult volunteers and over 85 student volunteers. We had presentations or skits, I guess, from the cheerleaders, from the cross-country fitness competitions from our cross-country team and other of our athletes. Like it was just an incredible community day, and we are just so grateful to everybody who came out to participate, to have fun. For our students who volunteered, they were so impressive. It really is just a testament to what we do here in the community. They get volunteer hours for working at the Rocktoberfest event, which is really great, and those letters will be going out soon, just confirming their volunteer hours. We are just, really, it was just an incredible turnout and day, and I'm going to turn it over to Laura now.
Like she said, I'm Laura Eggy from Marion Avenue. And I'm going to sort of take the other end and thank the everybody from the Township, from EMS, from DPW, from the fire department, from the police department. The hours that they put in for us over the course of the week, the day of, this would not happen without all of the help from all of them. So huge thanks to all of them. And a reminder to everyone that all the funds that we raise from this come back into the school. Mr. Nixon, you're brand new, so I don't even know how much you know about the Millburn Education Foundation, but welcome. You'll be hearing from us lots. But the Millburn Education Foundation, we do fundraising throughout the year and then fulfill grants back to the teachers, administrators, schools to fill in areas where there's a need. And on that same note, if you were not able to attend Rocktoberfest and or were so impressed that you want to figure out how you can continue to support us, we are always taking donations at millburnfoundation.org. And so again, I unfortunately had to miss this year's event because it was my college freshman's parents' weekend. I got photos. I got photo updates all day long. So a huge thanks to everyone, since I wasn't able to be there myself. And yeah, the board, everybody, this was phenomenal. So, and it keeps getting bigger and better. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Hello there. I'm not quite sure how this works. It's my first time commenting. I'm Ayati Jend. I live on Spencer Drive, and I'm currently a student at Millburn High School. And I had a couple of comments / questions on the new security policy that is being enforced in our school. So recently, the new policy that's being enforced, for people who don't know, doors are being locked once classroom starts, and only one child can leave the classroom for breaks at a time without their phones. And also there is the presence of security in the halls who are at times checking whether or not you have a phone on you. Prior to this policy being either implemented or enforced, a lot of teachers let students go to the bathroom halfway through the period, break up the 90 minutes we have to sit down. And it seems like more of a disturbance if we have to go one at a time, especially if the doors are locked and we have to like bang on the door to be let back in. And also, God forbid a security incident happens, having the doors locked while students are outside of the classroom without their phones seems like a possible safety issue. And this seems excessive for a school with very few security incidents and, from what I can tell, a very well-behaved class. So I wanted to ask, is there a reason for this stricter security and phone policy, and is this a long-term measure or is this short-term? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? All right, moving along. No discussion items for this evening. Board action items? He didn't have a report. No. First item, instruction agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve instruction agenda items 1A through C? Mr. Farashudin, Miss Bethina. I was so worried about getting the last name correct. Roll call, please, or any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, personnel agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve the personnel report for this evening? Mr. Bigman? Ms. Longer Richards? Any comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, business agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve items M3A through F? Mr. Lawrence? Mr. Bigman? Any discussion, questions, comments? All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, can I have a motion and a second to approve the second reading of the policies listed? Mr. Farashudin? Second, please. Ms. Longer Richards? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Abstain.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. All right, moving on to old business. And to be clear, we still have a board member comment section later on, so if you have, unless it's really old business, keep it for the board member comments. Any old business? Any new business? All right, we have another round of public comments. Same rules as first round.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Feld, live in Alexander Lane, Short Hills, New Jersey. I was really happy to hear the presentation about college admissions. I could not be at Oktoberfest last Saturday because I was at Cornell with my wife because she was on the law school advisory committee. But by pure fluke, you should tell your students if they're musicians or singers, put that in their application, because there was a presentation prior to the dinner of the law school advisory committee of the last call. It was a men's group. One of the kids, I asked, like, where are you from? He goes, Short Hills. I go, no way. Where? 2 blocks from where I live. You know, what baseball team are you on? The Ravens. But these are the things that makes our students special, like all the performing arts, and we should be emphasizing that. Also, since the last meeting, a lot of crazy things happened in the world. We had the 9/11 memorial. You have the assassination in Utah. Wednesday is Constitution Day. I don't know what the school is going to be doing, but one thing that we have to recognize is the marketplace of competing ideas. We have to be civil to each other. I've been trying to do that with the comments. In June, an incident occurred. Many of you were out that day. The superintendent was watching her son play in the state championship. Chris was out. But the person who was monitoring the meeting tried to chill my political free speech. And I've been shocked that there hasn't been any type of reaction saying that this is unacceptable in the United States of America, especially when we had a presentation about the Constitution and the 150th anniversary. But the key is, as to our students, if they play an instrument, tell them that they're going to play in a pep band. That if they're a musician, they like to sing in groups, there are so many groups, and that's what some of the things that colleges are looking at. That it's not just the people that are going to be in the classrooms, the people that are going to be outside in the community that we're trying to build here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Feld. Any other comments? Okay. Moving on, any other board member comments? Ms. Bethina?
I mentioned this to Dr. Diskin earlier, but I just want to, this issue with what students should do if they find themselves in the hallways, I think we should just kind of crystallize exactly what happens in the classroom, outside the classroom, where, kids are afraid of this, new rule. I think it just needs a little more clarity, maybe the why, and then, kind of just talk through their issues. What are they worried about, and how we're looking out for them as well.
Yeah, certainly. I'll speak to it now. The young lady is left, but I'll certainly speak to it. These are not new rules. These are rules that should be put into place. All of our schools, it is our district's most concern, the safety of our students and our staff. In terms of the safety and security protocols, there are procedures in place that may or may not have been completely followed by some of our schools, and we are doing our best to make sure, in the spirit of consistency and continuity among our K through 12 schools, that all of our schools, elementary, middle school, and high school, are all following the same processes and procedures. It is recommended, and we have on next Monday, the high school administration is going to be meeting with each of the classes to talk about this. And we also have, from the New Jersey Department of Ed School Security Department, a representative is actually going to come and speak to the staff, and can also speak to the community as to what is supposed to be happening. It is a world evolving and ever-changing today. We have had over 100, well, not we, but our country has had over 100 school shootings since school has opened. While it is not likely, or we hope that Millburn will not be affected by any of this, it is important that we know the safety and security is at our utmost, is at the heart of all, right? And so when we have situations, we have 3 types of doors. We have certain doors that have a bolt lock, some have a push button, some are locked by a key. And all of those have different protocols because of the type of door there is. But it is customary for a teacher to have the door locked from the outside, that it shuts and that it is locked so that an intruder by any nature could not get in. Well, so you have a lock, right? And so if I were to lock that door, I'd be able to get out of the classroom, right? But somebody would not be able to get in. So there are different locking mechanisms. The district is transforming all of the locks to go to what we call a push-button lock. Deerfield School is the only school that officially has all of those in at this point in time. The high school has various different types of locks, same with the middle school. We do have certain protocols that we have, which I won't publicly share for the safety and security of all, but just know that those protocols are something that we need to think about and to put in place for the safety and security. Should a student be out in the hallway, we are trained as professionals to what we call sweep the hallway, which means we are asked to come out, take a look, sweep anybody in should there be some type of intruder. And then the kids themselves are also trained and talked to about what to do in the event of an emergency and how to protect themselves should they not be able to get into a classroom. So we do take our training very, very seriously. I've spoken to Mr. Loughran, and he is going to be sending out a letter and meeting with all of the classes and talking with all of them about what they should and should not be concerned about. One of the things I think we all need to be concerned about as community members is that our first priority is to keep our students and our staff safe. And so if it is somewhat of an inconvenience, then so be it. It is not something that we would like to take lightly. And, even in our elementary schools, those doors are locked. The kids are very used to opening the door and coming in and out and things of that nature. It just becomes second nature. So with that, I will finish by saying there's more to come on that, but the students should not be feeling that it's a punishment or something against them or not to make the school a culture nice. It's just about the importance of safety and security in today's world.
Ms. Longley-Richards?
Yes, I have 2 comments. One, just to talk as a musician and a teacher who does advise students. Every one of my students is advised to make a video for their for the supplemental part of their Common App. I had a senior from another district who was telling me that he had all his applications ready to go, and I said, "Oh no, you don't. You have not done your recordings yet," and it presents a different facet of their being. So I think it's really important for all students to know that. So that was just my quick sort of response to the musician comment. But I also had to make a Rocktoberfest comment. I know it's going around tonight. I stayed in my tie-dye tonight, even though you're here. I'm still sort of in Rocktoberfest haze land from after the whole event. But one of the things that we didn't mention in all the wonderful comments, I mean, obviously it was an amazing day. This was our 10th anniversary this year. So in 2015 was the first festival. It was held on Main Street between Essex and Millburn when they were closing the streets at that time. And the following year it transitioned to the park, and it's been in the park ever since, thanks to the help of all of the public, DPW and all of the Township Committee and Rec and everything. So we did not have a festival during COVID. So next year, we get to celebrate Rocktoberfest 10. because it will be the 10th festival. So I just wanted to sort of point that out. And one of the very cool things for our 10th anniversary this year was that we had a brand new stage that we rented. So that was really the big news. I know I was definitely a driving factor in that. And I think when I saw it on Friday, I just was like, I love it. You know, this was our dream to have this big stage. So anyway, so new stage. And, you know, there is a wish list for next year, but it's going to be, you know, needing donations, I think. There is a wish for a Ferris wheel. So I'm just putting that out there that there is it's on the wish list for Oktoberfest 10, so nobody better miss it. That's all.
Mr. Bigman?
Yeah, I had two quick comments. One was in regards to the new security policy. You know, I think the words that I heard from a few people was it's anxiety. It causes anxiety in the students, and I was just wondering if there are ways, like I know we just passed the cell phone policy to limit or restrict cell phone usage, but if they do leave the schoolroom with a cell phone, is that a possible type of remediation to reduce anxiety?
So I think we're talking two separate things, right? We're talking the fact that we have students in the classroom that are in there, and I'm sure teachers give breaks and things of that nature, right? So if a teacher decides to let the kids have a break and let them have their cell phones, well, then that's up to the teacher, right? I think we wanted to eliminate the idea that cell phones are supposed to be put in a way, even if they're going to the bathroom and things of that nature. So I think it's just a matter of sort of creating sort of that understanding as to why we're doing some of this. This is not a new policy necessarily, it's just sort of best practice. I did walk around with our security director, Mike Pilardi, today, as well as the two security folks that are in the high school, and it is a standard practice, right? So I think cell phones, you know, I think that's one bucket, right? But, you know, we hope that these things don't happen. But I just want to reassure the students that, you know, it's not for that we don't want you to feel safe. We want you to feel safe and not have that anxiety. So we'll work at helping that, communicate that a little bit better.
That's great, thank you.
Sure.
And then additionally, I wanted to welcome Robert again to the school. I was only in 2 short meetings with him, but in both of those meetings, I was totally impressed with his clear communication, his approach and his style, his experience, his expertise. You know, it just was really an incredible welcoming. So I know you said this is a great opportunity for you, but I also believe that you are a great asset for us in our community, and I hope that the administration, I hope the teachers, I hope the parents and the students are as welcoming as I feel like they should be to you.
Ms. Spells?
Thank you, Mr. Heinrichs. First, I would just like to say that I was so excited that my first vote on the Board of Education was for our new high school principal. That was really a great way to kick things off, honestly. So that was awesome. And I appreciate all the great Rocktoberfest comments that happened, but just to take that a step further, as Ms. Alvarez mentioned, that conference that the counselors are going to tomorrow, that is actually all that work that goes into Rocktoberfest. That's why they do it, is to provide funding so that our counselors can go take our students to the next level. There's so many ways in this district that they're able to help and make things a little bit better, and that's why they do it. That's why all those people put in all those hours. It wasn't just to have fun, it was to make a real difference. Thank you. Oh, and have fun, of course.
I'd certainly like to applaud the efforts for increased security. I'm actually perturbed we had policies and we weren't following them and we didn't particularly know that. So like anything else, I think we do this, we do it for a few months. If we need a change in a policy, we get that feedback and we make a thoughtful decision about it. So I'm sure that will be coming. And where does this actually fall? Probably more of a governance maybe they could check in I just want to put a note to check in 2 months to gather all the feedback, make sure we're doing this right. If there's any policy changes, we can certainly talk about them. And I think Mr. Bigman's comments is helpful. I think we always, the more we communicate, like I don't know how much we pre-sold this as in, hey, we're gonna, be enforcing these new security policies, or if we just kind of drop the hammer. Sounds somewhere in the middle there, but we can always do better communicating. Fantastic. The last word to Ms. Longer Richards.
Sorry, I just didn't want to neglect, because I know one of the greatest assets we had was our intern program with our students. So I feel like I would be neglectful to not mention our student interns who went out, met with sponsors, who worked on social media accounts, who emailed bands and, did the performer liaison stuff with some of the performers. I mean, they helped in every way. We had a roadie crew this year to help set up the stages and to learn more about the equipment. Any facet of the festival, we really had students taking the lead and doing it. So I just wanted to put one last shout out for our amazing students, because, where else you're going to get that much talent? I don't know.
Last chance? All right. May I have a motion to adjourn? Ms. Bethina, Mr. Farashudin, all in favor? We are adjourned.